What's up everybody? Today we are back with another cooking video and we are going to be making my all-time favorite dessert, and that is the Portuguese egg tart. The Portuguese egg tart is a crunchy, flaky, soft, melt in your mouth dessert comprised of a custard filling with a puff pastry shell. Now there are a couple versions of this dish, the original one being from Portugal, but today we are going to be making the Chinese version of the Pasteis de Nata. Now the best thing about this pastry is that it doubles as a dessert and a breakfast item. There's nothing better than waking up to the sweet smell of a Portuguese egg tart served with a cup of coffee. Coffee and a Portuguese egg tart is a beautiful, beautiful pairing. Shout outs to Trade Coffee. This video is brought to you by Trade Coffee. It's a service that lets you discover some of the best coffees from the nation's top roaster. They match you to your own personal selection of coffee and they deliver that coffee straight to your door. And if you're like me, I'm pretty picky with my coffee and I'm always trying to find the most nuanced coffee roasts. And quite frankly, being at the grocery store, looking at the rows of coffee, being on my phone, researching while I'm at the grocery store just isn't that fun. So instead, this is how Trade Coffee works. Step one, you take a quiz. You tell them how you like your coffee, how you make your coffee. I like making coffee with my mocha pot, and that I like dark roasts, and they'll curate for you an endless list of coffee for you to try. Step 2, you can choose your frequency of delivery, and in step 3, you get to rate the coffee that Trade sends to you, and by rating it, you'll let Trade know whether or not you like certain roasts, and they'll continue to send the ones you absolutely love. Click the link below to get 30% off your first bag of coffee when you sign up, free shipping included. And if you're into coffee or you want to learn more about coffee, definitely check out Trade Coffee. All right, back to the Pasteis de Nata, aka Portuguese egg tarts. Brief history of Portuguese egg tarts. They were first invented in a monastery by some monks in Portugal. Now apparently when you did laundry back in the day, you used egg whites to help starch your linen. So they had a whole bunch of egg yolks that they didn't know what to do with. Thus the invention of Pasteis de Nata. Pretty soon Portugal caught wind of the Pasteis de Nata and it became Portugal's most iconic pastry. Portugal goes on to try and colonize the world, and one of those places that they try colonizing is Macau, China. The Portuguese started introducing the Pasteis de Nata to the locals, and nowadays the Portuguese egg tart is also synonymous with the city of Macau. You can't travel to Macau without trying a Portuguese egg tart, known in Cantonese po tat. It's like eating a creme brulee with a croissant, but better. So today I'm going to show you how to make the Portuguese egg tart. First up, puff pastry. We'll be using 1 sheet of puff pastry. I'm personally using a store-bought puff pastry, but if you want to make your own homemade puff pastry, more power to you. I'm just being lazy because puff pastry takes a while to make. You gotta fold the butter and all that stuff. But if you're on team store-bought, let's go. Next, we'll be using half a cup of heavy cream, 1/3 of a cup of sugar, 1 1/4 cup of whole milk, 2 egg yolks, 4 teaspoons of cornstarch, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. All right, the first thing we're gonna do is work with our puff pastry. We're gonna roll it out into a very, very thin sheet. And when I say thin, like really, really thin. And you want it to be about, you know, a 10-inch by 12-inch sheet. And once you have it flattened out into the sheet, what we're gonna do is roll it like a roll of carpet. And what we're gonna do from here is take some plastic wrap it up, and we're gonna put it into the freezer for 30 minutes. Now the thing about puff pastry is that it can melt. There's a lot of butter inside puff pastry. The way you make puff pastry is to have a dough, and you put butter in, you fold it, and put butter, and you fold, put butter, and you fold. Those many layers of butter and dough is what creates that beautiful flakes. And so, if you let this puff pastry out for too long, it starts to melt and you lessen the amount of flakiness and the amount of layers that you have built into the puff pastry. After 30 minutes, you're gonna pull it back out and you can feel that it's a lot more firm. From here, we're gonna cut our puff pastry into 12 equal parts, about 1 inch in length. And what we want is to have a spiral pattern in the middle of the dough. And this is gonna result in a really cool looking pastry shell. Take these pieces now and put it back into the fridge one more time and let it firm up once more. All right, now from here we're gonna take a rolling pin and we are gonna roll each piece of puff pastry. Now we wanna roll it out to be pretty thin. This is gonna be the shell, the custard holder. Now you can use a muffin tin or you can use these single pastry tins that I have, and it helps a lot. What I like to do is place the tin on top so it's centered in the middle, and then flip it over and then press and work the dough into the edges of the tin. And you work it around, and you want to press your thumbs into the crust and form the crust around the rim of the tins. So once you have all egg tart tins filled with the pastry dough, we're gonna take these and put it back into the freezer, and it's gonna sit in the freezer until our custard is ready and we're ready to pour the custard into these shells. With the custard filling, it's super easy. All we have to do is combine all the remaining ingredients together. So first, we're gonna pour in our 1/3 cup of sugar into a mixing bowl. Next, the 1/2 cup of heavy cream, the 4 teaspoons of cornstarch, and the 1 1/4 cup of whole milk. We're gonna take a whisk and mix our milk mixture together. And once it's mixed well, we're gonna pour it into a saucepan. And we wanna keep the heat fairly low. We don't wanna burn the cream or the milk or the sugar. What you wanna do is keep whisking while it's heating up in the saucepan. And once it begins to steam, you can turn off the heat. What we're really doing here is melting the sugar and thickening our cream and milk into more of a custard-like texture. You'll notice that as you're whisking, some of the milk byproduct is gonna start gathering at the bottom of the saucepan. That's okay. What we're gonna do is take a mixing bowl, we're gonna place a sieve on top of the mixing bowl, and we're gonna pour our custard mixture through the sieve and into the mixing bowl. And you'll see the sieve is gonna catch all that dairy byproduct that we do not want. What we really want is our custard to be smooth, and we're gonna let that custard cool for about 30 minutes at room temp. After about 30 minutes, we are going to take our 2 eggs and we are going to remove the egg white from the yolk. There's many ways to remove yolk from the egg white. My favorite way is also the messiest way. What I like to do is crack the egg and just dump the entire thing into my hands, and I like to let the egg white drip through the cracks in between my fingers. And once you have just the egg yolk in your hand, you can place that gently into the custard mixture. Once you have both eggs placed inside the mixing bowl with the custard mixture, we're also gonna throw in our 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and after that we whisk the egg, the vanilla extract, and the custard mixture together. Make sure to work in the yolks very, very well. And after we have it all mixed, we're gonna take another mixing bowl here, put the sieve on top of that, and we're gonna pour our custard mixture one more time through the sieve just to catch any other extra byproduct from the dairy and from our eggs. That way we'll ensure the smoothest and cleanest custard possible. Now that we have our custard done and we have our shells prepped, what I like to do is put the shells on a baking sheet. Now the trick to our Portuguese egg tarts assembly is having the egg tart shells super, super cold, and our custard needs to be not hot. Because the last thing we would want is to pour our hot custard in and it starts to melt our puff pastry. And when that happens, the custard and the pastry would actually start blending together. You want that clear distinction between custard and pastry. So, temperature is very important. From here, we're gonna take a spoon, and what you wanna do is spoon just enough custard into the shells where it covers about 3/4 of the way full. Now, once that's done, we're gonna take our entire batch of egg custards and we're gonna put it into the oven that's been preheated to 450 degrees. Now, you might be thinking 450 degrees, that's freaking hot. It is freaking hot. So the higher the temperature, the crunchier the puff pastry will be. And it allows us to scorch the top of our egg tarts so we get that iconic caramelized look. We're gonna let that bake for 20 minutes. And at the 20-minute mark, we're gonna turn off the oven and let it bake for another 10 minutes in the residual heat inside the oven. So our Portuguese egg tarts are gonna spend a grand total of 30 minutes inside the oven. And after the 30 minutes, we're gonna pull out the egg custards and let it rest for another 15 minutes. At this point, your kitchen is gonna smell wonderful, that beautiful buttery scent from the puff pastry, the caramelization of the sugar you can smell. And if you were me, I'd be making a coffee right about now so I can have a fresh egg custard and a coffee to pair with. Now these make for great desserts, but they're also great for breakfasts. What I like to do is reheat my egg tarts in the morning. You can set your toaster oven to 350 degrees and let it sit in there for about 8 to 9 minutes, and bam, you have a fresh and crunchy egg tart ready to go on any given day. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to head down to the comments below and let me know what you think about this recipe. If you guys do end up making this, make sure to tag me on my Instagram. I'd love to see your creations. Like always, let me know what you want me to make next. Once again, shout out to Trade Coffee. They're giving anyone who clicks on the link below 30% off their first bag of coffee. And until next time.